Hello everyone. Today I will cover what a 12-factor app is. I will be going through the documentation that's out there at 12factor.net. I will just walk through this. This is the first time I'm going through this. So I will be learning as I go through this document. So this is my way of learning. So whenever I do a video walkthrough step by step, I learn. I'm much more careful. So if you don't like this video, please don't watch it. It's mainly for me. And if it helps anyone, that's really good. If you would like, please post comments to see if there is any way I can improve these kind of videos. Anyway, coming back to the introduction for the 12-factor app, it's saying that in the modern era, software is commonly delivered as a service called web apps or software as a service. The 12-factor app is a methodology for building software as a service apps. So they're saying that the 12-factor app is a methodology for building software as a service. So nowadays, most of the apps out there are software as a service apps. You don't do packaged apps lately, so everything is a software as a service. So they're talking about what are the best practices in how to approach developing a software as a service app. So use declarative formats for setup automation to minimize time and cost for developers joining the project. So they're saying use declarative formats for setup automation to minimize time and cost for developers joining the project. I don't know what that really means. I'm guessing use something like a simple config file that will set the user up. So we'll know more as we go through this. We'll go through this document. So the second point they're talking about is have a clean contract with the underlying operating system, offering maximum portability between execution environments. So this is a pretty straightforward statement. So they want to make sure that we have a clean contract with the underlying operating system. So because developers use different kind of operating systems, someone uses a Windows desktop, someone might use a Linux desktop, someone might use a Mac OS. So if you have a cleaner contract, then you can move the environment much more easier between developer laptops. That's what I'm understanding from this statement. The next one is are suitable for deployment on modern cloud platforms, obviating the need for servers and system administration. Yeah, so this is I think everything should, nowadays you should not build, at least smaller companies where they don't have, even for bigger companies, I think they have enterprise cloud platforms. It should be, anything that you build should be suitable for deployment to a cloud platform. So that way you don't have to worry about scaling and a lot of other things that come with system administration. So minimum divergence between development and production, enabling continuous deployment for maximum agility. So what they're saying is, so development environment, the way you set up your environment should be as close to the production environment as possible. So a developer's machine should look as close to the production machine as possible. So it's easier for the developer to test and do whatever the developer sees in the development environment. They will see the same issues or the same features in production environment. So there shouldn't be any divergence between the way the dev environment is set up and the way the production environment is set up. And can scale up without significant changes to tooling, architecture, or development practices. So I think whatever the software as a service should scale up without significant changes to tooling, architecture, or development practices is what they're saying. So yep, we'll see what that means. I'm sure later down when we go through each of the 12 factors. So at a high level, so the 12-factor methodology can be applied to apps written in any programming language and which use any combination of backing services. So they're saying the 12-factor methodology can be applied to apps written in any programming language, which is, so it's a programming language agnostic and which use any combination of backing services. So irrespective of your technology stack, the 12-factor methodology applies to the apps you develop irrespective of the technology stack you use, is what they're saying. So to summarize, I think they want to make sure setup of the development environment is really easy. I think to make it easy, they're saying use declarative formats for setup. They're saying have a clean contract so that the environment itself is portable. And then the application itself should be suitable for deployment to modern cloud platforms. And there should be minimum divergence between the dev and the production environment. And it should scale up without significant changes. So we should be able to scale it up from, let's say, 1,000 users to 100,000 users. So the next one, the talk about the background. So the contributors to this document have been directly involved in the development, deployment of hundreds of apps and indirectly witness the development, operation, and scaling of hundreds of thousands of apps via our Heroku platform. This document synthesizes all of our experience and observations on a variety of software as a service apps in the wild. So coming back to the first sentence, they're saying this was developed by contributors who have wide range of experience, mainly on their work on deploying, development, operation, and scaling of applications on Heroku platform. In the next sentence, they're talking about this document synthesizes all of our experience and observations on a wide variety of software as a service apps in the wild. So basically, this document is a collection of best practices from their observations and their experience building software as a service apps. So it is a triangulation on ideal practices for app development, paying particular attention to the dynamics of organic growth of an app over time, the dynamics of collaboration between developers working on the app's code base, and avoiding the cost of software erosion. So again, they're saying that this document has information about what the ideal practices are for app development. So they pay particular attention to the dynamics of organic growth of an app over time. And they also look at the dynamics of collaboration between developers working on the app's code base and avoiding cost erosion. So I wonder what that means. So they have a link to it. Okay. Software erosion is nothing but the deterioration of software over time. So that will eventually lead to it becoming faulty or unusable. I think this happens to a lot of apps. They decay over time, especially if you don't keep it updated with respect to the changing environment. So many things happen in software development. Yeah. Anyway, so there looks like they have a nice article on Heroku. I will not go through it, but they're talking about, yeah, how do we prevent software erosion. Our motivation is to raise awareness of some systemic problems we've seen in modern application development, to provide a shared vocabulary for discussing those problems, and to offer a set of broad conceptual solutions to those problems with accompanying terminology. So the motivation for this document is they want to raise awareness of the systemic problems in modern application development, and they want to provide a shared vocabulary to discuss problems, and they want to offer a set of conceptual solutions for these problems with proper terminology. The format is inspired by Martin Fowler's books, Pattern of Enterprise Application Architecture and Refactoring. Okay, I don't know if these books are free, but let me open it and see what they're about. Obviously, these books are not free. Okay. Who should read this document? When it comes to who should read it, any developer building applications which run as a service, ops engineers who deploy or manage such applications. Okay. So this is a good document for both developers and ops operations engineers who deploy or manage applications. So the 12 factors. So they talk about code base. I think they want to make sure there is one code base tracked in revision control and many deploys. Basically, every project should have one repository in version control, and we better use version control. And then you can either use this one repository. You can have multiple branches if you'd like. You can deploy to multiple environments. So basically, you can have a branch that deploys to staging, one for production, and the developers themselves can have their own branches. But everything is tracked in revision control in one code base. And that one code base is used to deploy to all these different environments. That's what I understand from code base. Number 2 is dependencies. Explicitly declare and isolate dependency. So any module that is used in code, I'm guessing that should have its dependencies declared explicitly. So that way, if the module moves somewhere, it still works because all the dependencies are declared explicitly. And we should not install any dependencies globally, because if a developer installs something globally, a dependency globally on his machine, his or her machine, it might not work in production or on other developer's machine. So everything, all the dependencies should be explicitly declared within the project. The third one is config. Store config in an environment, in the environment. Yeah, I think the configuration of the environment should be stored in the environment. Okay, we'll go through it when we reach there. So the next one is backing services. Treat backing services as attached resources. Don't know what that means. I think when I go through that section, I'll know more. So the next one is build, release, run. Strictly separate build and run stages. So they're saying build, release, and run. Separate them. Okay. processes execute the app as one or more stateless processes. Okay. So basically, the process should be stateless, is what they're saying. Port binding. Export services via port binding. Okay. I think services itself, the way you approach services is completely changing with GraphQL. So anyway, I don't know how much this applies. And the next one is concurrency. Scale out via the process model. Okay. The next one is disposability. Maximum robustness with fast startup and graceful shutdown. Okay. So it should start really fast and gracefully shut down. Dev prod parity. Keep development, staging, and production as similar as possible. Okay. That we talked about already. Treat logs as event streams. That's a good idea. Admin processes. Run admin management tasks as one-off processes. Okay. Well, this was updated. This was updated in 2012 last. Wow. It's on GitHub also. Let me go and see if it was really not updated. Oh no, I think it's being updated. So I see a month ago. It was updated a month ago. Anyway, I don't know why, what really changed. Updating URL to the current format. Okay. Maybe the basic of it might not have been changed. Anyway, so that at a high level, that's what it is. I think this is the introduction video. I'll do a series of videos, maybe 13 more. At a high level, they give you introduction and the background. They talk about what is the motivation behind writing this document, and it's mainly applicable to developers and op engineers and anyone else who is involved in software as a service. And then they list out the 12 factors. That's all I have for this video. In the next video, I'll go to the code base and cover the code base part of it.